The following program is a production of Pioneer Public Television.
In this episode of Postcards.
It reminds me of a Chinese proverb, and the proverb is, flying a kite is like holding the wind in your hands. And that's precisely what windsurfing is.
Drumming is easy. Everybody can do this. All you have to do is believe it to see it, not the other way around.
Worthington's a community that is very diverse, and art is across all cultures. It's a great way to communicate with one another, to bring the community together.
This program on Pioneer Public Television is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4, 2008. Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yekel Julien in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org. The Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, your ideal choice for Minnesota resorts offering luxury townhomes, 18 holes of golf, Darling Reflection Spa, Big Splash Water Park, and much more. Alexandria, Minnesota, a relaxing vacation or great location for an event. Explore alex.com. Easy to get to, hard to leave.
I think there's something in us that compels us to get dunked in the water over and over again. I mean, there's nothing like going fast and then getting the breeze to buzz in your ears. It's addictive. You have to take a lesson. You spend a couple of days maybe just learning the ropes, but very fast you get a hang of it. You turn around, you see how the wind reacts with your sail, and you're starting to have fun. And once you do, and once you start to go fast, you can never stop. It's the third time in 12 years that we're hosting the U.S. Nationals here in Worthington, and it's not by accident. It's windy. We can attest to that today, and it's a community that really gets it, understands the passion that we have for the water, and really gets behind the event. That's what makes this event particularly unique. Yes, there are some legendary venues in the U.S. Where windsurfing is practiced every day. But Worthington is right up there with the best of them, not just for the quality of the sailing, but also for the community support.
Worthington has held a regatta now for 15 years. The first year we started, we blocked off 1 or 2 city blocks, hoping that it might turn into something. And 15 years later, we now have 5 or 6 city blocks blocked off. It's probably the most windsurfer-friendly event in the United States. So many places in California, they have so many events going on that they don't care about anybody in particular. Here, we put little signs in the yard. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but it says windsurfer-friendly yards, and it's a big deal to the windsurfers.
Windsurfing is, surfing with a sail, right? So it's a longer board than a surfboard, typically. And it's got a rig, what we call a rig, so a mast and a sail, pretty much like a sailboat. And you go around the course, or you go have fun on the water. If you go around the course, you go upwind, you go downwind. It's an extension of sailing. It's also a bit of an extension of skateboarding. There's a lot of balance involved in it. A lot of stamina involved in it, and it's a good mix, good all-around activity.
It reminds me of a Chinese proverb. And the proverb is, flying a kite is like holding the wind in your hands. And that's precisely what windsurfing is. Windsurfing started in approximately 1970, right around 1969 or 70, I think. It started with great big boards, real clumsy sails. The board has changed over the years with composite materials and different types of sails. They've gotten lighter weight and lighter weight, which means they can move faster in the water. There's not as much drag to them.
The boards have changed substantially. Everything's changed. The booms got better with clamp-on booms and carbon fiber booms. The sails became much easier to handle. So here we've got a mast that's got some carbon fiber in it, not 100%, an aluminum boom that has extendable for different sail lengths. The mast base here fits onto the universal joint right here. This is what allows the sail to pivot and fall down any which direction. So the sailor then hangs onto the boom about here when you're sailing and leans back depending on how much wind you've got, and around your waist you wear something called a harness, and it's got a hook like this. It hooks on right here, and when you're hanging onto the boom, you manage to hook this hook into the harness line like that, and that takes the load off of your arms. So then you can sail a long time, like hours and hours and hours. Otherwise, you're only good for about 15 minutes, and you can't hang on anymore. The way the National Windsurf Regatta works is that there's a race committee that decides in the mornings what courses we're going to race, and there's a set sequence for the starting signals for the races, a series of flags and horns. A lot of times the boards come up to the line, the starting line, and they'll be going at a relatively slow pace. You don't want to be over the line early because then you got to go around the end of the line and restart. So you want to be there just after the horn blows. A split second later, you want to be crossing the line. Ideally at full speed, but it's hard to get your timing just right. So a lot of guys come up a little bit slower and then sheet in and off they go. The windsurfers accelerate so quickly that there's not a lot of need to have the board up at full speed. The windsurfers have gotten over 46 knots. It's over 50 miles an hour in the speed circuit. We won't see that here today, this weekend. We don't have that kind of conditions, nor that kind of, nobody brought that kind of equipment along to get that fast. But to get in the mid-30s wouldn't surprise me.
I'm originally from Belgium, so I used to live on the Belgian coast, windsurfed as much as I could, and moved to Washington, D.C. about 3 years ago. So that's where I live currently, and usually sail on the Chesapeake Bay. And this is my first time in Minnesota. Every spot is sort of different, and I think inland lakes have their own special characteristics. So I think local knowledge will be very important in this regatta because there's a lot of gusty and shifty winds. So for us, I would say out-of-staters or out-of-foreigners, it will be a bit more difficult to adapt, but I think after the first two races we'll get a good sense of the conditions. Right now it's still a little bit light, but yeah, forecast is good, so yeah, we should get good races.
About 2001, I think Bill Keitel approached me about including the arts as part of the festival. So we were more than willing to take part in that, and from then on we have been doing what we call Arts on the Shore. And so, yeah, since 2001 we've been in addition to the festival, and each year we have had kids' tent activities on Saturday was the main thing we started, plus art vendors along the shoreline selling their wares. Worthington's a community that is very diverse, and art is across all cultures. It's a great way to communicate with one another, to bring a community together. It's a great thing to celebrate our town.
The theme for this mural is to celebrate Worthington and the many wonderful festivals that they have, including the Regatta and the Music Festival and Turkey Days, and kind of a celebration of the community as a whole. The inspiration came from the community itself and from a number of the people that I talked to. Most of the materials that I'm using is high quality exterior latex paint, and so it's very similar to what you use on the side of your house, and hopefully it'll last for many years to come, and we'll just be using ladders and keep adding highlights and details. This is the start of day 3 out of 8, and so there'll be a lot more highlights and details and colors on the wall behind me by the time it's all done. Well, I think it's important for the public to celebrate when art is created in their community and to embrace it, and it really brings a sense of excitement, and especially when you get to work with a number of the students here in town, it's really fun to be able to bring something that necessarily won't be seen and created, and create something for the first time, and hopefully it'll inspire others to create other pieces of public art here in town as well.
I used to make, or I still make, drums for a living. I make fine art pieces, and I travel all over the country to different festivals, and I would sell my drums. In order to get people to purchase them, I would have to put out a whole bunch of them to get people to play them. And as I started doing that, you start to realize the connections people make with each other. And I just enjoy doing that more. It's about bringing people together and getting people to experience each other. We're going to be offering drum making workshops where kids and adults get to make and keep their own drum. And these aren't coffee can drums. These are real drums. We tie-dye goat skin. We attach the goat skin. The kids get to put their own art, paint it, and then they get to take it home and keep and play and hopefully find joy from and have the rest of their life. What we did today is we gave every child and adult a drum. If you don't drum, you have to dance. Those are the rules. And we get people to experience music, making music together. Everybody can do it. Everybody has rhythm. If you walk, you have rhythm. If you brush your teeth, you have rhythm. So we just try to tap into that natural rhythm that everybody has. It comes from your heartbeat, and bring that together. Once people realize the power of a group, I just step out of the way and let them have the experience. When people drum together, they are naturally, all of a sudden, everybody's moving in the same time. We're breathing together. Your heartbeat syncs up with the rhythm. Everybody comes together. It connects the right and left brain. It helps students feel self-empowered. It helps adults feel self-empowered. It helps connect the teachers to the students, which is really what this is all about. I don't do teachers standing on the side. We get everybody involved. To me, this is a group experience and, not a spectator sport. Drumming is easy. Everybody can do this. All you have to do is believe it to see it, not the other way around.
Actually, I came to Worthington 5 years ago to create an installation. The last time they had the national championships here, windsurfing championships, and then, this 6 months ago, they called me and said, "Hey, we're applying for a grant. We're having the national championships again, and we're applying for a grant to bring back all the artists that came before, and so we'd love to have you come and do something else, do something different." And so I was thrilled to return. It's a great festival, and Gail Holinka is a fabulous person, and the other artists I've met, I didn't meet any other artists the last time I was here, but it's been wonderful to work with some of the other artists and see what they're doing as well. What I love about mobiles are kind of magic. I think it's. We've known about mobiles since we were like little tiny kids, and they were on our cribs, and we were like, in amazement. And I think that they have their own personality. And when they're made like this and they're so light, they move with not a wind or a breeze, but any kind of air motion allows them to move and adjust and respond. And so they have this whole life of themselves. And so that's what I appreciate about them. And they are also, of course, a magnificent sort of metaphor for community. You know, you have all these different colored pieces and shapes and sizes, and they're all kind of relating to each other, trying not to hit each other, and, you know, but changing their relationships with each other. And you see each piece individually, but you also see them all as a community, as a group. So in that sense, I think they were sort of a wonderful metaphor for the kind of thing that we're encouraging in the process of creating them. What we're doing throughout the week is we're creating an installation, a mobile installation in the lobby of the Memorial Auditorium here in Worthington. In addition to creating another mobile for the event center, the new event center here in Worthington, as well as creating probably 6 or 7 other mobiles that are then going to be offered for adoption, auction, purchase, whoever wants to do it, whether it's a business or individual, to help support the project and to help support the festival. This is something I do all over the country, and most importantly, though, I've been involving the students in the process. Here at the middle school, we've got 2 classes of 45 students total. It's a real joy to be part of this whole other set of other energy that's happening. And the windsurfing is terrific. I'm not a windsurfer, but it's really wonderful to have that be a part of, or I guess an opportunity to bring the music and the visual arts and the community experience together in this fabulous week.
I think what I like about it is that I build lots of relationships, and the community builds lots of relationships from it. We have people from Marblehead, Massachusetts, and Corpus Christi, Texas, that come here, and this festival maintains friendships far beyond the county line, and it isn't just windsurfers meeting windsurfers, it's windsurfers meeting people in the community, and knowing that though this person doesn't windsurf, they recognize him as somebody that does help support the event. We've created something called the Unvarnished Music Festival. And when the winds of the day, if you pay attention to wind regimes, generally the wind picks up at 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning, and it generally dies at 4 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And the music generally doesn't start until 5 o'clock or to 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's a perfect fit. If we have a day where there's no wind, we still have really good entertainment. The entertainment we try to get is original music, music that's human powered. We call it unvarnished music because we want music that is human powered and human inspired music without a lot of electronic contrivance. It's got to be human powered music, and we've had really good luck with it and have attracted a lot of quite renowned entertainers and musicians over the years.
Well, I play a music that's kind of based in country, bluegrass, and old-time music, I guess, old country, but it's mixed up with a lot of modern sounds because I didn't grow up in a vacuum in like some holler in the deep south like the old traditional players did. I grew up in the era of modern radio, so we got to hear, we've got to hear every kind of music, and it all kind of seeps into the traditional roots where it comes from. I write about rural western, probably country themes. Grew up in a town of 300 people in the Bighorn Mountains of Wyoming, and so yeah, just keep your eyes open and they'll write the songs for you. Just change the names of what you write of the people so they don't recognize themselves in the song. Playing music for a living sure beats working. I've had my share of lousy jobs, and I'm pretty happy to be on the road playing music. people always, all the time people come up and say that, it must be an awful hard life out there living on the road. And I'm like, no, it's a really easy life compared to the jobs I've had. So it's a joy. You travel and see a lot of country, and everywhere you go, everyone's really happy because you're always at festivals and, you know, events, so everyone's always in a good mood. So you're always around happy people, and it's great to do something that you enjoy and are passionate about for a living.
It's been a long and curious journey. I've been a sailor for perhaps 20 years, I suppose. And let's see, I grew up in Rock County, the only county in Minnesota that doesn't have a lake. And the minute I moved to Nobles County, there's a beautiful lake at our doorstep that has 7 or 9, I'm not sure, public parks, and they have beautiful access. We constantly get the wind. I've always been interested in sailing, and because of that, I've used that association to work with United States Windsurfing. These events are held throughout the United States. This is the only inland lake in the entire United States that U.S. Windsurfing uses for national championships. It's a validation, one, to the people's support of it locally, and the recognition from U.S. Windsurfing that we can host a really nice event.
But one thing I really like about sailing, even if it's not the Nationals, if we just come for the normal weekend regatta here in Worthington, is they have this whole festival that they put on for the windsurfers. And they bring in all these music guys and all the food vendors for us to eat at, and all the people that they bring in to watch us. Well, not really, but we like to think that. But it's a fun event. The whole town gets behind it. You go downtown and people find out you're a windsurfer, and it's like you're a rock star, and we're just windsurfers, you know. There's nothing anywhere else. It's who cares? But over here they do, and it's really kind of neat.
At our hall door, they came brave and boldly, oh. One sang high, other sang low, and the other sang a raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. It was upstairs, downstairs, a lady went, put on her suit of leather, oh, and there was a cry from around the door, she's away with the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. Looking for his lady, oh. The servant girl said to the Lord, she's away with a raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. Oh, well, saddle for me a long black steed. The big horse is not speedy, oh. I will ride till I see my bride. She's away with a raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. He rode north and circled south till he came to a wide open plain. It was there he spied his lady, oh. Tell me, how can you leave your goose goose-feathered bed with blankets strewn. So come you, how can you leave your only wedded lord all for the raggle-taggle gypsy? Oh, what care I for my goose-feathered bed with blankets strewn? So come you, tonight I lie in a wide-open plain in the arms of a raggle-taggle gypsy. Oh. Tell me, how can you leave your house and your land? How can you leave your money, oh? How can you leave your only wedded lord for the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh? What care I for my house and my land? What care I for my money, oh? I'd rather have a kiss from the yellow gypsy's lips on my way with the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh.
Do you have an idea for the postcards team? Email us, postcards@pioneer.org.
This program on Pioneer Public Television is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yackel-Julien in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org. The Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, your ideal choice for Minnesota resorts offering luxury townhomes, 18 holes of golf, Darling Reflection Spa, Big Splash Water Park, and much more. Alexandria, Minnesota, a relaxing vacation or great location for an event. Explore Alex.com. Easy to get to, hard to leave.